Hello there. This is an email from Orla, who says that she's had been eating restrictively since she is 14 and now is 19. That her BMI has never been quite low enough to be admitted to treatment, and she's always been convinced that she's had an out-of-control appetite but been restricting. Anyway, so then she writes, my question to you is, if we are meant to eat what we want and feel when we feel like it, how come some people are severely overweight or obese to the point when they become serious impediment on their physical health? Clearly eating this way is not always the right thing for one's body, as being obese can be very dangerous. I know that I probably shouldn't be thinking about this, but I really struggle to understand how normal people are able to eat without really thinking, because if the case, how some people just keep gaining and gaining till they become severely obese. What is the difference between healthy people at the right weight for their body and people who are too high weight for their body? And if people are too high weight, how do they reach a healthy weight for their body without restriction? I know this is my 18th sort of talking, but it's been a major concern of mine for a long time, and I really want to understand it. Well, I'm glad you asked. So, there's this thing called genetics, and it probably is, genetics is in control of way more than I think that we think it is, and way more than we think we give credit for. And what happens is, yes, there are morbidly obese people in the world, but those morbidly obese people didn't start off that way. And if you ask somebody who is morbidly obese, usually, in the vast majority of cases, they have been on a diet most of their life. They have been restricting most of their life. Because what generally happens is, well, first of all, I'm going to preface this with, guess what? Body diversity is a thing. Some people are supposed to be in large bodies and some people are in smaller bodies. And people who are in large bodies, if that's where they're genetically supposed to be, are perfectly healthy. Oh, yes, it's true. You don't have to be skinny to be healthy. Yes. Anyway, so let's take that as a given, that people come in all different shapes and sizes. And people can be quite healthy in what would be considered to be an overweight body, if that is the body that is their natural body weight. Yes, that blows people's minds sometimes, but it's true. So, then, take that into consideration. So there's this person, right, and their BMI is naturally, 24. And their body's perfectly healthy at a BMI of 24. And they're beautiful. And then, they go to the doctor, and the doctor just looks at the BMI chart and says, oh, your body weight's a bit high, according to this chart. And so then that person thinks, oh, I should probably, I don't know, I guess I'd go on a diet. And they start restricting food. And their body's genetic response to restricting food might be quite different from mine. My body has a migration response. When my body goes into prolonged energy deficit, my body goes, well, hell, we got to get the fuck out of here and we got to migrate. Don't you eat anything and you start moving. Eat very little, move a lot. That's what my body says. Not everybody's bodies do that. Some people's bodies have a different genetic response, and some people's bodies' response to that is to actually be like, oh, we should hibernate. I'm going to lower your metabolism to rock bottom like that, and I'm going to store some fat. That's what some people's bodies do. Kind of the opposite to mine. And if you think about it, we have examples of both of those things in nature. Bears hibernate. Birds migrate. It's just different genetic responses to energy deficits, different genetic responses to perceived scarcity of resources in the environment. And so these things are hardwired. You can't tell by looking at someone what their genetic response to energy deficit is going to be either. And so this person who was in this perfectly beautiful, larger body, not even that large really, if you think about it, is it? BMI 24 isn't even large. I can't even call that larger. It's just a body. Anyway, so they're in this perfectly beautiful body. They go on a diet. And their perfectly intelligent body goes, lack of resources. So what I'm going to do, what my genetic predisposition is going to be to lower metabolism and store fat as best I can. And bodies can be very good at doing things. And so that person lowers metabolism. And then just like me, my genetic response is different. But just like me, if they carry on restricting, there comes a point when their body goes, fuck you, human. I'm going to binge because you're not giving me enough food. And so just like me, they binge. So I binged when I was restricting, and a person in a larger body that's larger than mine, may also binge when they're restricting. But the thing is that when a person is in a body larger than mine, nobody looks at that binge and goes like, oh yeah, you're just doing that because you're underweight and your body needs more food. They look at that binge and go like, see, that's why your body's larger. So I think the thing is that we don't understand that people in larger bodies can be heavily, or not even heavily restricting, can be restricting enough for their bodies to think, I need to take drastic action, I need to binge. And then that still happens, by the way. And so what happens is somebody goes on a diet and then they can't maintain it. And they binge, or they just start eating more, and because their body's low metabolism, their body goes, I'm so smart, I'm going to store fat to protect you from the next famine. And they go on a diet again because they've gained some weight. And so then the body goes, I know exactly what to do. I'm going to low metabolism. I'm going to store fat. And then they keep on restricting. And then at some point the body goes, fuck you, human. I'm going to eat a load of food. And it eats a load of food and they gain weight. And they continue to gain weight and they go on another diet. And then forward. You get the picture. So what have we learned? We've learned that we all have different genetic responses to perceived resource scarcity. We all have different genetic responses to restriction. We all have different genetic responses to energy deficit. All of those can amount to the same things. And what we have further learned is that when we try and fight our biology, regardless of what your genetic response is, regardless of your genetic responses like me, I'm going to migrate. You're not going to eat very much and you're going to move. Or if it's like somebody else, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to store as much fat as possible. Regardless of what your genetic response is, the moral of the story is that when you try and fight your biology, bad things happen. The end. Restriction is usually the root of the problem. And restriction can cause obesity. God, that's difficult to get your head around, isn't it? All right, so what else haven't I answered in this question? I think I've answered most of it. Now, what's very important to understand with this as well is something called health at every size, which I kind of brushed on. But health at every size is saying that a person's body weight does not indicate their state of health. So a person can be in an obese body and be completely healthy. It's true. A person can also be in an obese body and not be completely healthy. That's also true. A person can be in a normal-sized body and not be completely healthy. That's also true. A person can be in a thin body and not be healthy. That's also true. So when I was in a thin body, I wasn't very healthy. In fact, I was very unhealthy. But people didn't look at me and necessarily say, you're very unhealthy. Especially when I wasn't in an ultra-thin body. And so this is where it all gets a bit confusing because we're just humans and we like to just look at stuff and think that's healthy, that's not healthy, let's make it easy. It's not easy. You can't measure a person's state of health from their body weight alone. And more importantly, what Health at Every Size is saying just because somebody's in a larger body, do not assume that they are unhealthy. It makes sense when you think about it, isn't it? So I think health at every size is very important to understand. And if you struggle with this sort of stuff, you really want to research into that. Have a proper look into health at every size and what it actually really means. No, health at every size is not saying that it's healthy to be in an obese body. But it's also not saying it's healthy to be in a normal sized body. It's just completely, taking the two things apart. And saying we need to objectively look at what health is and not make assumptions based on a person's size as to their state of health. And so that's super important. Genetics, I know I keep on saying it, genetics. I'm going to keep on coming back to that because I think genetics have so much more to answer for than are given credit. And our bodies are ancient. I feel old some days. But I don't mean it like that. I don't mean necessarily that my body is ancient, although a lot of the time I feel like it. I woke up this morning, I had a cricky neck. Anyway, but our bodies have evolved over thousands of years. And in the same way that there's breed diversity in dogs, which is way more, it's kind of easiest for us to see breed diversity in dogs, there is genetic diversity in humans as well. People that would come from different strains of human tribes are going to have evolved different genetics from each other. Some people will have a migration genetic because it would have maybe migration made sense for the location of that human tribe. And some people have a more hibernation type genetic because maybe that makes sense. And so in the same way, Animals, breed diversity evolved. Humans have genetic diversity. We don't see it as much now because we're so multicultural, but it's there. And it comes out, certainly comes out when we start restricting food. But regardless of what the genetic predisposition is, either way, whatever it is, what we can assume is that restricting food fucks stuff up. Basically never ends well, whatever your genetics are. All right, so that's that. I hope that makes sense. That's a really important question. I really, really want people to understand this. Really want people to understand that dieting creates obesity. It's so important.